It's a KFAN and K102 crossover this Friday at Wild Bill's in Apple Valley for a Michelob Ultra Wolves watch party. Join Amy James from K102 at 7 p.m. to watch your Timberwolves in action and to sign up for your chance to qualify for first-round playoff tickets this year. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Somebody on the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line 64686 said, Common, can you gut a deer? And we actually call that field dressing a deer. Could you field dress a deer, Teneby?
No chance.
Really?
How would I know how to do that?
Well, you take a buck knife and you start down in the groin area near the loins, and then you cut straight up to about the sternum. What you have to be very careful of is when you're removing the organs to not cut them open, because then fluids leak out and that can contaminate the meat. And then you just leave the guts out there. You don't bring them back with you because other animals will eat them. And you just pry it open and dig out the chest cavity and you're good to go. I can't believe, I thought everybody knew how to field dress a deer.
Not only do I not know how to do it, I don't ever want to do it.
All right. Well, just if you're ever on a deserted island, deserted islands probably wouldn't have any deer, but you got to survive.
Well, survival mode will kick in at that point, yes.
Right, very good. 5, 3, 4.
Now for...
It's over, by the way.
5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
The Wolves beat the Philadelphia 76ers 126-112 last night at Target Center. Naz Reid scored 23 points. Nickeil Alexander-Walker added 20 off the bench. Anthony Edwards scored 18 points in the first half, but only took 2 shots after halftime. He didn't play a whole lot the second half of that game. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Wolves win?
Well, that they kept Ant out, and they probably did it for his own good. They figured the less he plays, the better the chances he doesn't get another couple of technicals, right? So, especially in a game that you can't lose, don't put him out on the floor, because if he gets called for a foul, he argues with the ref, he throws out a 4-letter word, and the next thing you know, he gets teed up, he gets another one, and he's out a game. You know, it was a team that Embiid's out for the year. I think maybe you even brought it up in 5-3-4. I heard it somewhere. They were missing 6 players, did not dress last night. And he rosters, 14 or 15? So, and I know most teams only probably go 8, 9, maybe 10 deep in a game, but that's all they had. And many of them are your backups anyway. So that was one of those loser-proof games, as we like to call them in the business. And, I guess, it sounds like the 70s. I peeked at the score from time to time. And it seems as though that early Philadelphia gave it the old college try, but then it was just too much. That was an automatic win.
Well, it seems like the Wolves have struggled in a lot of those loser-proof games this year. So,
well, they have, but I really didn't expect that last night, because some of those loser-proof games, I think, and I don't know, I'm not looking at. I don't watch any games. My point is, I don't know if when they've lost those loser-proof games have not only been against a bad team, but a bad team that's got 6 guys out, right? So that was last night was just, you lose that, you may as well board up the old bullseye.
Question number 2.
Time now for an in-depth look at the state of hockey.
Leftover steak from last night. Baked potato, salad. So good. This is living.
The Wild were winners last night as well. They beat the Seattle Kraken 4-3 in Seattle. Philip Gustafson finished with 33 saves, just one game after he shut out the Boston Bruins. That line of Marcus Johansson, Frederick Gaudreau, and Matt Zuccarello scored 2 goals last night. Common, your thoughts on the Wild's win in Seattle.
Is the Kraken any good?
No.
Yeah. So
they were 9 points out of a playoff spot going into the game last night.
I don't know. That
being said, they outplayed the Wild in terms of possession time and shots on goal and shot attempts. And
with trade deadline Friday, and we're probably not doing anything, right? We don't have a lot of cap space.
They really can't do it. I mean,
because of cap space.
They'd have to get very, very creative to be able to pull something off where you've got a third team involved you're now giving picks to for them just to take on salary. And even the guy they're allegedly most interested in, I think they're just going to get in free agency this summer without having to give up anything for him.
What guy is that?
Brock Nelson.
Oh, okay.
He's one of us. He played at War Road. He's currently on the New York Islanders, and he had an interview last night after the game for the Islanders where he got very emotional. So he knows he's gone. He knows it's over.
Well, until
if we could get him here without, without having to give up too much or somehow being creative to do it, I don't know. That'd be great. It'd be nice to have him for this season, but you're going to get him, I think, in the offseason with only having to give up free agency money.
We're still missing Caps and Eki, right? So I don't know. I guess
and Brodin.
Winning games without some of your best players.
You got Hartman back last night.
What you got to keep doing, right? You have to keep winning those games. And, are they fairly secure in a playoff spot right now? They are, right?
Like I said, they were 9 points up on a playoff spot with only 21 games to go. And that's usually, it would take a pretty good collapse. Now, the way their roster is currently constructed with the guys they're missing, they are capable of a collapse. But, now they're up 11 points on Vancouver. That's who they play Friday night.
I'm not going to hold you to this, but what do your sources? Kaprizov, he's not done for the year, is he, or could he be? Do we think he will be back by postseason, or is that still up in the air?
The thinking was always that he was going to be back. Right when he first got hurt, they said minimum 4 weeks. Okay. But since then, Bill Guerin has spoken about how it's going to be longer than we originally thought. I'd like to believe he'd be back for the playoffs, but they give us zero information on his injury, so I don't know. Could it be something that could easily have a setback at some point? I don't know. We don't even know what it is other than lower body.
And without him, we're not a contender, right? I mean, even with him, we may not be. And then,
even with him, right? If he doesn't get enough time to get the rust out of him before the playoffs start.
Yeah.
So not only do you want him back, but you'd like to get him some games in before the playoffs get going, so he's feeling better about himself.
Question number 3. And now it's time to go between the pipes.
The Class A boys hockey state tournament is underway. The number 2 seed St. Cloud Cathedral has defeated Matamidi by a score of 3-0. Up next, it's number 3 Northfield versus number 6 Orono. Tonight at 6 o'clock, it's number 1 Hibbing against number 8 Laverne. And then the late game tonight, number 4 seed East Grand Forks versus number 5 seed Northern Lakes Common. Who are you cheering for in the Class A state tournament?
Well, my wife's alma mater is Cathedral, but they won last year, so rich get richer. Lucky is the head coach at Northfield. He's also the head golf professional director of golf over at the Meadows at Mystic Lake, and so I've gotten to know him pretty well there. Before there, he was at the Meadows, he's at the Meadows at Mystic Lake now. He used to be at the Legends Club, so I know Lucky really well. So he's my pal.
Sure.
So I'm pulling for Northfield, I guess. Yeah. Though.
You may have just changed my mind to cheer for Northfield.
There you go. Yeah. I really
like the Meadows at Mystic Lake.
Though Hibbing, right? No, is Hibbing 1A or 2A?
They're number 1 seed in Class A.
Okay, Class A. Hard to root for the number 1 seed, but Hibbing hasn't been there forever. I have a tie there. My grandma and grandpa on my dad's side lived in Hibbing. We used to go up there every summer. One time we were there in the wintertime for Christmas, and we had a 68 Ford Mustang. It got to my old man had bought a brand. He had a kind of a midlife crisis. 40 below up there. I remember we didn't think we were going to get back home. They had to go out and start the car. That was back when the batteries would freeze up. There's no garage. Well, they still will freeze up now. He was out there every hour starting that car and letting it run to make sure the battery wouldn't freeze up on it. So I got a minor rooting interest just because of my connection with Hibbing. And
it's good to see them back, right? They have a history, obviously, with the Micheletti brothers, and they've got a history. That arena up there is one of the best in Minnesota, and it's been a long time. A lot of those hockey programs on the Iron Range have been kind of fading away for a long time. And now I think I saw that even though Rock Ridge, which is basically like Eveleth, Virginia, they played double. They were the number 1 seed in Section 7 AA this year. They didn't make it to the state tournament, but like those programs, it wasn't that long ago. We're talking like, sure thing, 7 or 8 seed in their sections. So it's good to see some of those programs starting to turn it back around again.
Moorhead's 2A, right?
Yes, they're the number 1 seed in AA.
And have they seem to get, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I feel like I see them in the state tournament all the time, but I don't remember them winning one recently, or have they?
I don't think they ever have, no.
Yeah, so, they've
always been the bridesmaid.
So there you go. You kind of, I don't know. I would like to see maybe Moorhead have something to cheer for other than being the home of potatoes, so why not?
And for Class A, my nephew is he's not in high school yet, but he's 2 years away from high school for Northern Lakes, so
there
he's
you
going to be going right down the pipeline. Yeah, might see him in a couple of years.
Very good.
That's it.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Roughly how long is this break? About 5 minutes?
Yes.
That gives me enough time to finish my lunch. And so I'll finish my lunch, and then we'll get back into some controversial Vikings news here on the Common Man.
PST champion announced in about 15 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
We crown a champ today.
At 1:30, the tension building. What's bigger? First round, quarterfinal round of the Class A State High School Hockey Tournament, or PST champ? I think you know the answer. That's at 1:30. And then Mark Rosen just before 2 here on the Fan.
Want to chime into what's happening with your favorite KFAN program?
Why not?
Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw Bryan text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
By the way, not only is it a Wing It Wednesday, a What's Up Wednesday, it's also a Wild Wednesday here on the Fan, presented by Jim Beam. That is your official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. We're going to give away a pair of tickets a little bit later. It's the game against the Lanch. That's coming up on, I don't have a date. It doesn't have it on here. But I know they're playing the Lanch sometime soon. We'll have tickets to give away a little bit later. Don't call now. We'll do that before the program is over. Someone sent by the way, you know what I'm waiting?
It says on the 11th. I'm assuming March 11th here, 6 days.
You know what I'm waiting for, Tenneby? I'm waiting for the meat sauce TV commercial. Have you seen it yet? Have you heard about it?
I think I've seen him. I had posted it was 7th Avenue Pizza. Is that what it was?
Yeah. He's. I didn't know he was. I know. That's 2 TV commercials he's done. You've seen his other one, right? He's in the Jack Links commercial. And you know why they liked him at Jack Links? 2 things really stood out. Well, first of all, his popularity, right? But the other one is that there were no speaking parts, and they didn't have to provide him with a costume. So. And now apparently he's
just be himself.
Just be himself.
Yeah.
And now he's doing a 7th Avenue pizza commercial. And apparently he's on a Zamboni. Could you drive a Zamboni, Tenneby?
I would like to try. Yeah. Just like the Gear Daddies, I want to drive the Zamboni, but I don't know if I know how to figure out.
Someone else asked, can anybody on the air staff put a foosball table together?
What?
No, I don't think I could.
Is that a common thing people do?
I didn't think it was. I mean, I would think it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What has it got? 6 rods. You stick it in the hole. You tighten the bolts on the legs, and I don't think it would be that hard. I could probably figure it out after a while. And you know what I've heard about Meat Sauce's TV commercial though? He's trying to parlay it into a nationally syndicated talk show, which is what I tried to do with the Taste Fairy ads. And that didn't work out how I wanted to. You saw the Taste Fairy ads. Do you think, would you be embarrassed if you were me for doing those?
Not at all.
Yeah, it was fun.
I would do.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was, wearing women's underwear is part of my turn on, so why wouldn't wearing a tutu be a bad thing? My boys were a little unnerved by it. But, that's a whole other story in itself.
They're used to being embarrassed by their dad.
Yeah, well, you are correct. Here's another one that said, and I don't even know what to make of this. Hold on, I got because this is a good one, tend to be. Here's what this again is from the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. It says, "You guys are the most unmanly personalities, the fan air staff in all of the Twin Cities, except you, Common. Most don't even cut their own grass." I don't know any of the other air staff. I mean, I know K102's got Dubs and Chris Carr. They seem to be fairly manly to me.
What about Muss?
Oh, yeah, Muss is there too. Yeah, he's Muss. What do they have? Cities has got Dylan. KDWB's got Colt.
Dave
Ryan. And then the other sidekick played program password with us. Why can't I think of his name? Yeah. So he was on with us. Or he seems to have some manliness to him.
I will say the reason most people get into radio is because they're not manly. They don't want to do the manly work.
Yeah. If that's how you define manly.
Yeah.
How many can drive it like they ain't got a dime in it? That would be the other thing that you'd have to ask yourself. What the hell was I going to ask you about the? I actually had a legitimate wild question here.
Huh?
I'm always a forward-looking person, right? So let me ask you this question. We all talk about this. Can't wait for the Suter and Parisi contracts. But now they're going to be gone for the most part. There's a tiny little bit left, I think you said earlier. But
it'll go from, because I think right now they're both like $14 million against the cap.
Okay.
It'll go to like $1.5, $2 million against the cap each year.
So what do you think Bill Guerin and just heard coach's name.
John Hines.
What do you think their wish list is when they get that extra dough? I mean, where do they need to improve most? I mean, is it all across the board? Or
I will say it won't be as much as people think because, one, they signed Brock Faber to a contract extension last year.
Okay.
And he's making a good chunk. Kirill Kaprizov right now is making $9 million a year. Now, thankfully, these are off the books, so now that we can sign our own guys. But that Kaprizov 9 might turn into 14, right? Mm-hmm. Especially with the salary cap's supposed to go up too, so that'll be good. But a good chunk of where you were going to be saving from Parisi Suter is going to go to Faber and Kaprizov, hopefully. Assuming Kaprizov signs her. If Kaprizov doesn't sign, then we'll be flushed with cash.
Well, you know what somebody else, let me interject real quick because this I want to see what your opinion on this. Somebody texted me and said when Louis, who, by the way, breaking news for those of you who haven't heard yet, Lou Nanny is now, after 60 years, not going to be a part of the Minnesota State High School hockey, television coverage. Yes, first time in 60 years. Somebody sent me a text that said Louis he was on with Barrero, and he seems to be nervous about the Kaprizov thing. In other words, that was what the text said, and I don't know if it's true or not, but do you know if Louis is, and are you? I mean, because I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday. I mean,
I don't have inside information on it. I will say Michael Russo, who has a lot of inside information during the offseason, keeps talking about how they're going to have to they're going to have to win this year to convince him. Now, maybe it takes a playoff run here. I don't know what it's going to take Kaprizov to convince him, but it's definitely not a sure thing he's returning. And so, yeah, given he's the best player we've ever had, he's, borderline MVP candidate before he gets hurt, and how much he means to this team and the franchise, yeah, there should be a little bit of nerves. And now, maybe they're just playing the games and then get as much money as possible for him. I don't know. Now, like I said, if he doesn't sign, it stinks to lose a guy like that, but then they will be flush with cash. I mean, they'll have a lot to go around. But we waited a long time to get a superstar of his caliber, and it would be very disappointing to see him go. Now, you also have to remember the first time he signed a contract extension, he only signed for 5 years for a reason. He could have signed up to 8. But one, it put him in a position where he could still sign another contract in his prime. That's going to be big money. And two, if he wants to leave, he'd be able to leave.
This text message says, what Kaprizov have you been watching that would make you think he's earned $14 million a year? Sounds like you're getting ripped.
He was arguably the best player in hockey.
Yeah, before he was hurt.
Yeah. Now, the injuries are getting a little concerning with him, too. After McDavid and McKinnon and McCarr, I might put him right there.
What about Kane and Toes?
He's well past them now.
Okay.
Those two are a little past their prime.
And then there's this one, and this might be the most important question of all. That it's kind of been a thread that's run through the show about the air staff and the fan. What type of tasks or chores could they do? This one might be the most important. Could any of the men at KFAN beat Lil B in arm wrestling? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I don't know if I could. She's a 2-time, and we do know for sure. Unlike JG, we don't know for sure about the 2 boys high school, state high school tennis championships. We know there'll be 1-2 arm wrestling championships at Glencoe. So anyway, let's take a deeper dive into the Wolves. Tennessee's got Wild today.
How about the Wild? Yeah, this is Wild Today, brought to you by Jim Beam, the official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. The Wild beat the Kraken 4-3 last night in Seattle, thanks to the Gus Bus.
Strand looking for Tolvanen. He's got a break, trying to catch him. Faber. Tolvanen protects the puck. Couldn't get much on a shot, but a penalty call coming. And then Faber crunched Tolvanen into the end boards from behind. It's a penalty shot. From right to left on your radio dial with the Wild in front by 2. Tolvanen saunters in, left circle, middle of the ice, took a shot. Gustafsson, the stick save! Huge save.
Yeah, Philip Gustafsson stopped Eli Tolvanen on a penalty shot last night. Gus finished with 33 saves. Matt Zuccarello, Frederick Gaudreau, Jared Spurgeon each tallied a goal and an assist. Marcus Johansson had 2 helpers as well. Wild are in Vancouver on Friday night. Vancouver right now 9th in the Western Conference. 11 points behind the Wild, though 2 games in hand on the Wild. So that'll be a big one for Vancouver on Friday night. That was Wild Today, brought to you by Jim Beam, a crowd pleaser since 1795. Should mention, we crown a preposterous statement tournament champion next, right here on the Fan.
Well, old friend, here we are again. What a journey. Started all those years ago when Charlie Walters' notes column, Fish Wrap Factory, East Side, Chuck said something to the effect of he wouldn't trade 2 Kevin Garnetts for 1 Al Jefferson. No. What was it? Was that it? Or was it the opposite?
I think it was wouldn't trade 1 Al Jefferson for 2 Kevin Garnetts.
And I said, well, that might be the most preposterous thing I've ever seen. And we laughed. And then because we were laughing, we were having fun, and the audience said, well, they're having fun, I must be as well. And that blossomed one day when you came up with the brainstorm. I would put it, you coming up with the idea to take all the preposterous statements and making them into a tournament was similar to the discovery of fire, the wheel, and electricity. Because it has really been something we've hung our hat on for a long, long time. We've had 17 different champions. Though did Tommy Olsen won it twice?
He's won it twice. And I thought Charch was going to be in line to be the second ever to do that.
For sure. I'm still disappointed, but because I will say this, and I'm not trying to influence next year's voting. I think it is better when a local wins, right? It's so much more fun. Especially when Charge won at that one time. What I admired is he faced the music. He didn't run and hide from it. He came on the air and accepted the Booby Prize. I don't think he was real happy about it, but he did receive that prize. But Teneby, it's been about 3 weeks now, I guess, somewhere in there. I'm bad.
It was like middle of February. It was the Wednesday after the big game is when we started.
Yeah, there you go. So middle of February, we started with the PST. We started with our say-in matchups, just like they have the play-in games in the NCAA tournament. Then we set the field to 64, and now Teneby, we're about to crown a champion. We had 2 statements that were a part of the duo. Or as Deuce would say, he would say the duo. And without further ado, my friend, let's do it.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Here was the matchup of the Doke duo. You had 48 hours to vote on this on KFAN's Twitter X account at KFAN1003. It was the number 2 seed from the
North Region, presented by Arthur's Jewelers.
Myles Garrett, that number 2 seed, defended his quarterback Deshaun Watson, criticized those who booed him after he was injured. Here's what he said.
But man does pretty much everything right. He's been a model citizen through college and most of the pros.
He went up against the number 1 seed from the
East Region.
That would be Draymond Green. Here's what Draymond said about the NBA's fines.
The fines, to me, don't make sense. When you talk about as hard as we work to accumulate wealth, coming from situations that most people never make it out, and then you get fined the way we get fined, it's actually not set up for us to be wealthy after we're done, man.
I find this matchup interesting, Common, because you have, on one hand, Myles Garrett, a guy who is currently demanding a trade from Cleveland because he wants to play for a winner.
Right.
He hasn't won. He's never been a winner.
Correct.
Wants to find a winner to play for. Against Draymond, who's known as a winner, right?
Yeah.
At Golden State Warriors, how many
interesting.
ships have they won? They won 3, 4, something like that?
Are you suggesting that this might be more important to Myles Garrett because this would be the only ship he's ever won?
It might mean more, but Draymond just might be better in that moment. He knows how to handle it.
Well, let's find out. Do we have a champion? Well, we do, but who is our champion?
The winner of PST VVVII is, by a score of 57.5% to 42.5%, Draymond Green.
Draymond Green. Yes, and I think I predicted.
You did. You nailed it.
At the very beginning, I said, I think Draymond is the most preposterous. It doesn't get any better than that. Congratulations to Draymond Green.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
You saw it coming a long time ago.
Well, again, I had numbers yesterday or 2 days ago where the most fined player of all time is, what's his name again?
Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons. And a lot of that, I guess, was he was fined because he just stopped showing up for games or whatever.
For games and practice. He quit on the team.
Yeah, he just quit on the team, and it was $19 million. And then I said, well, man, maybe he doesn't have any. Maybe he didn't retire with any wealth. He's still playing, I believe, but I do know the story I saw said his net worth is $80 million, even with the $19 million in fines. So congratulations to Draymond Green. A hell of
another championship.
Yeah, another championship for Draymond Green. And Teneby, I think I mentioned this before. Jim Nance, after they crown an NCAA champion, and this is very similar to the tournament, right? We have our March Madness and they have theirs. Apparently Jim would, after the final buzzer would go off and they would crown a champion, they play one shining moment, then he would go, I don't know, post game right on the court, or he'd corner the kid in the locker room. He would whoever was named the most valuable player of the tournament, because it's always on the winning team, he would present them with his tie, his necktie. Here it is, as if the kid's going, wow, what do I think is better, winning the championship or winning the championship and getting Jim Nance's necktie? That's one of those things where Nance's ego is obviously out of control. He thinks the kid will go, whoa, this is like getting the Honus Wagner tobacco card, man. It's worth millions of dollars. A new tradition I'm starting here, I'm going to send Draymond Green the athletic socks that I've been using to elevate my scrotum.
Huh?
So I'm going to send them to Draymond, and he's going to have that. I'll have attached.
What a prize! If that doesn't motivate you to win a preposterous statement tournament, I don't know what will.
Let me ask you what you would rather have, Tennessee. And you can think about it for a while if you want. Would you rather have Jim Nance's necktie or my rolled up athletic socks that I elevated my scrotum with?
Show worn?
Show worn. I'm wearing them right now. I think that's a hell of a prize, actually. I shower regularly, okay? So it's not like, But congratulations to Draymond Green. Do we have the...
I've got one preposterous statement, if you're ready for it.
Yeah, well, this might be the best part of the preposterous statement tournament.
100%.
It's time for one shining moment.
To me, don't make sense. When you talk about as hard as we work to accumulate wealth, coming from situations that most people never make it out, and then you get fined the way we get fined, it's actually not set up for us to be wealthy after we work.
It's a preposterous statement. The statement is uttered. There you are, shooting from the hip. You're a superstar in all the years. No one knows just how dumb you spoke, but now it shows that one preposterous statement you reach deep inside. One preposterous statement you knew you were a lie. Preposterous! Feel the beat of shooter's heart. Feel the wind in Sid's face. It's more than a contest. It's more than a race.
The fines to me don't make sense. When you talk about as hard as we work to accumulate wealth, coming from situations that most people never make it out, and then you get fined the way we get fined, it's actually not set up for us to be wealthy after we work.
When it's done, win or lose, you always spoke absurd, 'cause inside you knew that one preposterous statement you reached for the sky. One preposterous statement you knew. One preposterous statement you're willing to try. One preposterous statement.
It's like Tennessee hitting that falsetto. And then we used to have, back when we had tactical, we don't have tactical anymore, we would do the bit where, do we even have an old one?
I'm sure I can find an old one somewhere, yeah.
See if you could look for that while I set it up, if it wouldn't take too long, just see if you can. Because as you know, then what they do is, after the tournament's over, they have it already pre-recorded, buy your DVD of the championship game and get your hat and your T-shirt, crowding Draymond Green, the preposterous statement tournament champion. We used to have that done too, but now the way it works here at iHeart, we have to send that to national, and they would have to do that. We can't do it. It's a long story.
I did have imaging guy do a liner going into break. Saying congratulations. Oh, he mispronounced his name.
Oh, did he really?
He called him Draymond instead of Draymond.
Well, I like that. That's even better, because that's preposterous. Do you have another one of those from the
I'll find one. Just give me a give me a second.
We've had this idea before, about having a champion of champions PST bracket. What I would rather do, and we've talked about this, is, of course, then I don't think it would be as tough for Tennessee. I mean, the committee to put this together.
Looks like I only have one. I can't believe I only have one of these, but
let's go ahead and do it then. It's so good.
It's been weeks of mild anticipation, but we finally have a champion of PST Double V, Clint Frazier. And not only was it preposterous, it was a number 5 seed winner. So don't miss out. Get your very own official Clint Frazier PST Double V Championship DVD and T-shirt now. Follow the new king of preposterousness as he obliterated the field of 68 on his way to the PST Tournament Crown. Secure your place in PST history. Get your DVD and t-shirt now. But wait, normally something this valuable would cost hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yes, hundreds of dollars. But now, through this limited Common Man offer, you can secure your place in PST history by sending a couple $13, $14. But wait, order now and get a free Mike Wobschall Paul Allen Snuggie in the shape of Kirk Cousins' head.
You like that? You like that?
Yes, you will. It can fit 2, 3, up to 5 Vikings fans, and it's extra comfy. But that's not all. Order now and get your discounted Common Man one-way bus ticket to Detroit. So don't be left out. Order your Clint Frazier PST Double V Championship memorabilia now.
Hurry, first 5 orders get the split of meat sauce breakfast burrito left in the studio from this morning. Order now.
Now, let me ask you, that was really well done. I mean, think of the production value that was put into that, the writing. Clint Frazier, Yankees pitcher, is that right? What did he win for? Do you even remember?
Man, I'm trying to remember. It was Yankees related.
Yeah.
I think he played for the Yankees.
Right. Well, it had to have been preposterous. I mean,
He probably compared going to spring training to
right.
war or something.
Yeah, right.
I don't remember.
One of those, yeah, more than likely.
See if I can Google it.
But you know, I think you were the one that came up with this idea. Rather than doing a PST champion bracket, right, where we take all the winners and put them square off against each other, we do like the runner-ups. Because, I mean, think of all the people that didn't win. That look, every year, except for this year. This year, I thought Draymond was the most preposterous, and I hit it. Of the other 16, Tenneby, I don't know if there was one where not that I didn't think it was not deserving of winning, but where I didn't select that one. I thought there were at least one, if not several, statements that were more preposterous than whoever won. And like, for instance, which one of Gorg's didn't win? It was the hundreds. The hundreds.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, I thought that would have been a clear-cut winner if we had some of the best statements to not win. Who would win that? Because there's been so many that have just fallen by the wayside where you go, wow, how did that not do it? So
that Gorg one is like top 5 statement of all time and didn't win. That's the 98 Vikings of the preposterous statement tournament.
And it didn't win. It's just crazy. So did you ever find Clint? Or
I cannot find it.
Yeah, that's okay too. We're not great at record
keeping. He played for the Yankees. Yeah.
We're not great here at record keeping because really, to be honest, the reason we do the PST just it helps kill several segments for 3 weeks. Let you in a little secret. That's what we were trying to do there. So there you go. But we have another champion now. And then, you know, I don't think we'll get Draymond on.
Probably not.
You know, is it worth reaching out to Golden State Media Relations and say, hey, KFAN All Sports, we want Drip. No, we don't want to talk about the acquisition of Jimmy Butler. We don't want to talk about Steph Curry. We don't want to talk about LeBron setting the all-time record for most points scored regular season and playoffs. We want to talk to him about it. He won the preposterous statement tournament, and we'd like to just have him on it because we've had some luck getting. How many of the former champions have we had on? Half a dozen, maybe a little bit more than that.
Amy Van Dyken,
right? Charge,
Tommy Olson. Did Marnie win one? I thought she came on.
Did she
for
win?
Some reason?
Did Marnie win? I don't remember. But we couldn't
all the local people have basically come on.
We couldn't get Chris Carter to come on. He who was the Northwestern coach?
Pat Fitzgerald.
Pat Fitzgerald didn't want to come on. So we've tried.
Was it Jed Fish? Was that his name? The Gophers offensive coordinator?
We tried to get Jed Fish on. So we've reached out and we've made every effort to get them on. But
Marnie won for the Powerball comment. About how she wouldn't want to win the big jackpot. She'd rather just have like the $1 million jackpot over like the $250 million jackpot.
How did she say that? Something like a quiet. Isn't that what she said? Quiet $1 million? And then I think we had her on and I said to her, well, you could get the $218 million one, keep $1 million and give the $217 away. and then would still be your quiet $1 million. And I if I remember correctly, I think she kind of said, yeah, I guess I never thought of it that way. I think she did win. You're right. How about that? I
would take a quiet $1 million.
Yes.
Over the loud
I'd take a loud
226
one.
because the 226 will change your life in ways that you don't want. It'll change it in ways you want.
Sure.
But it'll also change it the bad way. So give me the quiet $1 million. I won't say a word. Maybe I'll bring you guys a little treat.
Thank you.
But that's it.
Wow. That might be an all-timer. How many females are we? Marty and Amy Van Dyken, the only two? Have we had another
Trying to think.
female? I don't think we've had another female.
Well, they're typically smarter than us, so they don't say as many dumb things as we do.
There you go. So, just so a great day. I'm happy for Draymond. I'm happy for you, Tenneby, and the committee for doing a terrific job putting it together again. I know.
Can we thank all the listeners that send in the preposterous statement turn in nominations? They send them to @KFAN PST on Twitter or on X. Without them, we would not have the tournament we have.
That is correct. They deserve more thanks than anything. We love when you provide us with audio, or at least tell us where the audio is. Because, for instance, the Charge one, as you said, just real quickly, the Charge with the Saquon
is cooked.
Cooked. We were told about it, and that was one thing. But you don't always get the context. But then when you were provided with the audio, was it a listener that found it?
Eric
too?
Tebow, former intern guy.
Okay.
He went and searched for it.
He finds it, and when you hear it, it's jaw-dropping. I mean, it's like, I could listen to it on a continuous loop. I enjoy it that much. So again, congratulations to Draymond Green, and thanks for all the listeners. We'll take a break, and when we return, Mark Rosen, the legendary one, will join us next here on The Fan.